I thought well, you know, it's funny. Now they're not doing any bails.
So that's supposed to end in June, I think.
Right? So, like, they're not making any money right now, are they?
I think they are right now. Did you see the zero bail initiative, though?
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to push a zero bail. It didn't go through.
Oh, no? I thought it did.
Did it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
When?
Like when they did the whole thing, no evictions for 60 days after the state of
They did that for zero bail?
Yeah.
Because all the sheriff's associations were like saying, no, we don't want this shit.
Yeah, no bails.
Really?
Yeah, for non-violent crimes.
Oh. Well, I mean,
But
now there's so little crime.
But still, other than domestic violence.
Domestic violence, it's through the roof, though.
And isn't that crazy?
Well, so like, you know, my fiance worked in the DV unit for like a long time, like the DA.
Yeah.
And so she told me she was like sad when all this stuff happened. She's like, damn, you know what sucks? It's like Christmas is the worst. At Christmas, like domestic violence goes to the roof. A lot of child abuse.
Yeah.
She's like, right now it's gonna be like 10 times.
It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be tons of divorces after this.
Are you okay? So like, I'm in this camp. I'm getting, nobody's opposing me, right, on Facebook, but I'm in this camp of like, this is stupid that we're doing this, and I'm getting nothing but cheers and people sharing. I think like I'm in somebody's echo chamber or some of these people's echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is how Facebook works because I don't have any other social media. But like I went to my parents and my dad. This is interesting about like the economy right now. Yeah. So during the 2009 crash, I should say for me it was literally March 15, 2007. It's not 9 because I like when New Century went under. In my opinion, that's the beginning of the crash. So I went to my dad and we were in the pool. We were like sitting and we were just having a beer. And he looks like he couldn't be happy. He worked for Caltrans, right?
Oh,
like,
dude.
Government paycheck.
Exactly.
And my mom worked for UCR, steady paycheck. And my dad's like, so what's it like out there? Like, and just lost.
Like in a bubble, like
totally.
Has no idea.
And he did the same thing the other day. So we went to go pick up like, oh, we're bored. Let's go pick up the carpet shampooer and clean the house and whatever, right? So we go pick up the shampooer and, you know, we just go sit outside and they're on one side of the, you know, fire pit and we're with the other. So we're like keeping our social distance and all that stuff.
Trying to be accepted in society right now.
100%, right?
100%. Like you're only doing it because if someone's watching, you're like, damn it.
Like when I walked here. So my dad, but my dad legitimately had proton therapy like a year ago.
Yeah, so you're worried about him, yeah.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years now, but we're worried about his compromised immune system. I think he's okay now, but like he's not in the greatest shape. So, you know, I won't hug my dad, you know, I'll go sit down. And I'm telling him about like, hey, do you know what's going on? Like I'm kind of explaining what's going on outside. And he's doing the same thing. Why can't people just stay inside? I mean, I'm not really hurting. Like I haven't noticed my income change and whatever. And I'm like, Dad, there are people like that are nearly homeless right now. Like there are people starving. They're going to food banks. And you're like, oh, you know, it's not a big deal. So you kind of wonder if I'm getting both. I have like the super hardcore business folks that are like, listen, this is just America. This is how we do things. And then you have like a whole nother camp, which is the people that live in their little bubble all the time anyway, that are like, everything's fine, just stay indoors. Yeah,
they don't even care.
No, and they're just making margaritas at home, like, and they're just collecting their paycheck from whoever their employer is.
Yeah, you're just walking in, your dad's just shaking up.
No, I swear my mom brought out, like, she's got bottles of wine, she's cracking, she's bringing out snacks. I swear she bought 6 sets of snacks to the table. So, like, we would have these little side tables, and she would, like, come over these sets of, she'd be like, how about a cheese plate? How about some whatever? And I'm like, you guys are on vacation every day and no one knows.
That's like my mentor the same way. He was a big time lawyer for MLB and the NBA refs. And same thing happened in 2008. I was talking to him the other day when this all started happening. He's like, in 2008, he's like, dude, he's like, none of us were affected.
Yeah.
He's like, so we were sitting here and he goes, all my friends weren't affected. So we'd literally go to lunch and be like, yeah, we know the economy's crashed and everyone's F, but like, you're good? Yeah, you're good. We're good. So everyone's fine. That's how he is now.
Yeah.
Like he's retired now and he bought a place out in Torrance. And I was talking to him. He's kind of like, yeah. He's like, nothing changed for me. He's like, I just live he's like, none of this is affecting me. He's like, so I'm like, damn, like that's like the goal I think for me to get to the point where like economy crashes. Okay, all right, whatever, you know, whatever you need. It's okay. We're good.
I mean, I'm kind of at that. I was at that mentality like a year ago. I mean, the whole point of building the tiny home company was like, all right, let's build a giant pool of notes. Mm-hmm. And then this situation made me think, wow, even if I had a giant pool of notes, it wouldn't make any difference, right?
No.
Like, but I'm wondering if you got money and you're looking for a place to put it, I bet you could pick up a lot of equity, not necessarily buy a whole property, but if a landlord doesn't have 6 months worth of reserves,
oh, for sure,
I bet you could buy 20 to 25% of the project just applying 6 months of reserves.
Yeah, I mean, well, like think about if you just had tons of cash and like, you know, everyone's saying the stock market's gonna go back when we reopen, but even if you're just throwing cash into there, tons of cash, and all of a sudden it goes up. I mean, the thing that I always think of, like if you have tons of cash, tons of money, and it goes up just a little bit, you make so much money because you have so much in the game that you're like, oh, it went up 3 points today, 3% on $10 million. Okay, cool. Let's pull out now. All right. You know what I mean?
But then it goes the other way too.
Exactly.
The lever drops the other way.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I hadn't thought about? I wonder what Unison's doing right now.
I have no idea.
You know what they are?
Yeah.
Like they'll give you. Actually, I wonder how many people don't know they could tap Unison right now to get like, I think it's 18% of their property value.
You gonna call them?
No, but like, if you really want to keep your home, forbearance thing.
Yeah,
dude. If I was Unison right now, oh my god,
I'd be calling everyone.
Everybody that was in forbearance, I'd be calling lenders and saying, listen, we have a giant pool of money. When people's forbearance goes sideways, call us. We'll buy out the forbearance.
See, that's what I'm not understanding about. Like, you know, obviously everyone's calling me like, what's going on in the market? We're at the point I've given up on trying to figure it out. It's like, well, the government's stopping forbearance and foreclosures anyway. So, like, are we going to have a massive foreclosures? If like,
no,
I don't think we are. I really don't.
I posted the math, and I think people took it wrong because I didn't put any emotion in it.
Yeah.
So I posted the math of like, 92 million single family households. 40% are paid off. Who knows what the owner-occupied percentage is, blah, 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 blah. I went through it all. And I think what I came up with was, with the existing 2 million forbearances, it's 6%. If all of those were the owner occupants, that'd be 6% of the economy, or of the lending economy. If in some crazy scenario, all of those, no one ever made a payment, good luck, right?
Someone would make a payment.
Yeah, somebody's making a payment. I mean, whatever. Pick your ratio. I mean, the worst, like, when I was talking to Ernie Wong at Pacific Premier, that dude's been, he's been through multiple bank mergers. That guy knows his stuff. And he's like, listen, the worst portfolio in history had a 30% loss. He's like, so if you're underwriting a portfolio, if you start with a 30% loss, like, then you know. Well, so let's assume those forbearances are going to meet that mark. I mean, 30%. So 600,000 across the entire country. What does that even show up on the inventory?
No.
Like, no one notices.
No one even notice it. No. I mean, and the funny thing is we're at such a low of supply anyways.
Yeah.
It would actually help us.
No, the economy would move.
It would move better. That's the problem, is there's just no houses on the market. That's a big reason why. I mean, obviously that's why prices have gone up, but like there's just nothing out there. There's a lot of buyers that want to buy. Rates are super low and they just can't do it. Well, I think it's going to be effed up is that, like, say we go back to work May 1st or May 15th, whatever, the special number,
whatever
right?
the day is.
And you file for unemployment and never got any money, and then you go back to work and then you can't get the unemployment. It's like, have
you ever filed for unemployment yourself?
No, I've never really had a job.
Okay, so I filed for unemployment, and I only know this because it's been a long time. My fiance just filed, and like, she got laid off officially at the end of the month. When FMLA and unemployment work about the same way as far as payment. So you get paid for the period you're unemployed, even if it's 2 months later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, think about it this way. Let's imagine, and that's why we were talking about cash hoards right before we got on this. If you're, and I know this is an optimistic point of view, so don't get me wrong, there are definitely people hurting, but there's also the opposite side. There's a financial shift. You work a job and your spouse is an essential worker, right? And for usually two people can live as cheap as one. You scale back all your spending, and you live on your essential worker spouse's income, right? And this is assuming, right, two people live together, not just somebody by themselves. What happens when 2 months from now that unemployment money shows up and you've already been living on one person's income because you cut back all your spending? Is it just like bonus money? Do you just get like 4 Gs?
Well, I think that's the thing, is like, well, everyone makes a mistake. And you know this in the real estate world. It's like, oh, I made 20 grand this month. I'm going to start living like I made 20 grand. Like, if you could just like be responsible, like, and just like stack it away. I mean, even like the $1,200 that everyone just got. It's like, you know how many people are going to blow that?
Well, it's already gone. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's literally gone the second. Did you see I mean, I think they were ridiculous photos. I think they were from Christmas, but they were like all the sale item stocks. They're like TVs, and like all the TVs were gone with the prices above them, like in Walmart. And like, or people were like, And like everybody started showing the old Dave Chappelle bit with the whole reparations thing.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, this dude is great. Dave Chappelle's a great bit on reparations and like what would happen. And like, it's just the scenarios. If anybody hasn't seen it, they have to watch the old Chappelle show bit. But there was like, basically if anybody, no matter who they are, gets a giant chunk of money out of nowhere, like 90% of people are just going to blow all the money. And so like, I don't see that being any different right now. Do you remember the last time it was it $500, $300? What did we give him Bush?
500, I think.
I think it was $500. Anyway, I mean, it went nowhere. Like it made no difference to the economy anywhere.
No. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like going back to my mentor, he's like, I'm going to go spend it on this, and this, because he doesn't need the money, you know? Yeah. He's like, this is what it's meant for. Like, I got to go help the economy.
You got to push things along.
I got to push things along. He's like, you're welcome. That's what he always says to me. You're welcome.
Yeah, we blew $500 on groceries the second it came in. Like, we needed to stack the house, right? Yeah. And so we went on Instacart, and then Cass is like, she was asking me about tipping, and I was like, over-tip everybody. Yeah. I was like, this is government money. I'm like, I said, tip everybody 10 and 20%. Because they Instacart, I didn't know. I had never used Instacart before.
I've never used it.
So I didn't until 2 days ago. So now I know how it works.
Now you're never leaving your house.
I'm never leaving. Well, actually, I almost thought, it was interesting for a while. I almost thought it was like Uber. Yeah. But you think like Instacart, you're like, man, I kind of like going to pick out stuff at the grocery store. Dude, I'm probably never going back to the grocery store.
I'll tell you this. I think the one thing that will change from this, I'm ordering food and taking it home so much now. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's going to change.
No, we were...
Pre-ordering.
Well, we were already being complete dingleberries and, like, ordering stuff to the house already from DoorDash. Right. Yeah. I would say, like, minimum 2 days a week we were getting DoorDash. Yeah. But when it was, like, when... I'd have my daughter every other week, so we'd go out as a family, go out like as together. But there's a lot of times where, and I think it's almost like why we started the tiny home business is like we never use our house. Yeah. So this is how lazy my life has become. I would work so many hours that I would order DoorDash. I wouldn't get it till 9 o'clock at night, and then we would eat in bed and fall asleep. That was like my whole life for like the last 2 years growing other companies. And it's two people living like a bachelor.
Yeah. I love it.
So now
that's like last night. I came home at like 9 or 8:45. I'm like, oh, thank God, it's like my first normal night. People are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I come home, sit on the couch for about 30 minutes, and I go to bed. Like, I don't want to be home at 5:30.
Yeah, I started training back in December. I'm still like training 3 days a week, and with like a buddy of mine, and I was getting to the point where I was becoming so lazy. Like I was just literally I would work till 8 o'clock at night and then come home and fall asleep. I know everybody thinks they had this stupid virus, but I swear, like I got hit with this virus in December, and I couldn't get out of bed for like 3 days, and I was rolling over in bed and I was hyperventilating. I was like, I was physically like just turning over, and I was like dying. I was out of breath, and I just thought I was fat. Yeah. I was like, oh, I got fat, like my lungs. And now I'm like, oh, maybe it actually was something else. But it caused me to go back to work. Dude, it's helped my mentality right now. If people are like really kind of distraught right now, I'm like, dude, go. I know you're not supposed to go outside, but do some jumping jacks. Like,
I think that's the thing too. Is like if there's been all this time that you're like, oh, I just don't have time. If you're not doing it now, you're lazy.
You're never gonna do it.
You're never. Yeah. If you're not doing something right now, you're never gonna do it because it's like you have no excuse.
No, I think I've jiggled my door handle on my front door for the last month. I've had time to fix it every day, and like every day I'm like 3 times to get the thing to open.
And then you're like, I'm just so busy right now. Like I can't fix this.
And I'm definitely not in any way whatsoever.
You're never going to fix it, dude.
No, as a matter of fact, I just got a text like, hey, honey, it took me 6 times to get in the door. Can you fix that this weekend? I'm like, all right, I get around to
Listen, we're talking about before. The one thing I will get out of this, I'm going to beat Super Mario 3 on Super Nintendo before
I think that's hilarious.
This is going to be over it. Dude, literally, I've been battling this game for the last 3 weeks, and then I'm thinking, like, my team just watches me play, and I get pissed, and I'm like, how did children beat this game back in the day? I'm an adult. I can't.
We were persistent, though.
Well, because you had 12 hours to play every day.
Well, I actually, did you see they were dumping sand in the skate park in Santa Monica?
What?
Yeah, they put some absurd, they say 10 tons of sand or whatever in the concrete skate park so people didn't skate in Santa Monica. And all I could think was, dude, if I was like 14,
you would go dig it out.
I would be digging it out with my buddies. Like, yo, get your shovels. We're going. Like, we're going outside.
In the middle of the night, just fucking next day. So I actually had that one time I went on a listing. I like walk in, I'm looking through the house. This nice house off Washington, and there's this huge hole in the backyard. I go, you guys plan on getting a pool? She's like, no. She's like, that hole is what my daughter does when she comes off her benders. She goes out and she would dig holes. This thing could have been a pool. It was so deep. Yeah. You want to talk about
like
random. Like when she comes off her drug bender, she goes out and digs when she's trying to get clean. I was like, holy crap. I was like, we probably need to fill this in.
Like, it's probably going to hurt the sale.
Yeah, probably. We probably need to, and don't tell anyone what it means. So that's a podcast I would love to do. If I could tell real estate stories about people and they didn't know I was talking about them, I would love to do that.
So it's funny you say that. I have a lot of investors, right? Investor friends. Mm-hmm. And we have like the best stories.
You have the greatest stories.
And so I actually had the same, a couple months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm like, what I should do, think about it this way. Long form podcast, right? We sit here and we talk for 2 hours or whatever. And like you get some good stories, people are interested. But I think it's VinWiki. VinWiki is a good car channel.
Car show, yeah.
Yeah. So like they're all about 10 minutes.
Yeah, right? Which I really got into that show.
Yeah, I really like that show.
Yes.
The stories are amazing. And so I thought about that. I started watching that. And I thought of real estate. I'm like, in 3 hours, how many stories could you tell that were 10 minutes long from some chaos? Like, when I tell people that the first property I bought had a hole in the ceiling, like an airplane engine fell through, like in Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Like they don't believe me. And then it's even more weird because you go in and the lady was sitting in front of a black and white TV in a piece of, an outdoor aluminum chair. Mm-hmm. And the entire floor is covered in newspaper that's been set down like he did in Big Daddy, where every time a dog pooped or peed on the ground, she just put down paper. And the floor is laminated with it in the whole house. And it built up so much they attracted rats. Ugh. And then the rats started sucking on the copper pipes and were able to work holes through the copper pipes and build nests underneath all the tubs.
Dude.
And it was if it wasn't for my allergies, I couldn't have walked in there because I would get hit with a wave of like just horrible smell.
Yeah.
It took us $30,000 to fix that mess. But like the scene you paint, if you really tell the story in detail, is so atrocious. But like people don't believe that this stuff is out there.
And then the lady didn't even care. She's just sitting there
every day.
Can you? Oh my God, dude.
And she had piles, so she worked at it. She volunteered at a vet. Mm-hmm. This is why, like, I'm not a religious person, right? And I know a lot of people, and like especially in the IE, like really religious people in some capacity. But I don't practice any specific religion. I just believe like the world seeks its own balance and just do good things.
Yeah.
But then some people use their religion as a crutch. Mm-hmm. They choose not to, no different than a social system or anything else, to do the work. This lady was a volunteer and she would go to church. Mm-hmm. And people at church would help her. This landscaper was like, dude, the nicest guy. He literally mowed her lawn for a year and just added up the bill, and his wife would bring her food. I mean, like this lady was taken care of. So thereby, whatever grace, the community, because she was a good person, rallied around her and took care of her. However, how a hole wasn't being burrowed in her brain from the amount of stuff in that house blows my mind. Mm-hmm. And you could get into the whole toxoplasmosis theory or whatever. But she would have like stacks of stuff and kennels from the vet she volunteered at. And she kept telling me like, well, at some point God will help me. I'm like, listen, lady, like everybody I know who's like goes to church will eventually say like that 2 hands working do a lot more than 2 hands praying. You still got to do the work yourself. Mm-hmm. And I actually find out here there's a lot of that. Like there's a lot of people who are hoping that like some salvation will come, and all they had to do is pick up the shovel.
Yeah.
And like and that's every story.
Well, I think that's just so crazy to think. Like, I mean, obviously, like, there's been scenarios for me where that like check comes in when you needed it, and like, where you're like,
dude, I've had a tax check come in when literally I couldn't buy groceries. Like, I know.
Oh yeah, but you're like, okay, all right, that makes
somebody up there is looking out for me. Yeah.
I don't know who it's like, or like that random client that out of nowhere a deal comes on the table, and you're like, 21-day all cash close. Oh yeah, okay, yep, thank you.
I really could have used that.
But like, I don't think people realize it's like, even like right now, like it's what I've been telling you. Like all these agents have been hitting me up, like, what are you doing different? I'm like, nothing. I'm like, you got to show up every day, man. I showed up, and the market's hot and good and everything's great. I show up. When it's crappy sideways and no one knows what's going on, I show up, and that's how we get lucky.
But I remember, because I was this person. I got really depressed when I went broke in 09, really, right? Mm-hmm. And all I did was just get high and play video games. And I worked 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed up every day, but like very limited. And I managed to eke out $50,000 a year. Like I always just made $50,000 a year, like enough to keep the lights on. But like, keep in mind that at that same time, I was working for Lance Martin when the office had 1,000 listings and 300 calls a day. And I would just respond to the ones I felt like it.
Yeah.
So, like, aren't you? If you're being honest with yourself, you didn't show up.
No. And that's the thing, too. Is, like, it's a lot of people will be like, oh, I show up every day. I work every day. Well, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, people go, how do you get everything done? You always have free time. Like, I always love that when people, like, I'm doing an interview next week for Top Producer magazine. They're like, hey, when do you want to do this? I'm like, whatever day works for you. I don't care. And they're like, how is your schedule always so open? I'm like, because I don't waste time.
Schedule it open.
I just schedule it open. Everything's open. I go, if it's a big enough opportunity, I'll move stuff around.
For sure. I will call.
I will call and cancel on one deal.
Yeah.
And I'll blame it on something.
Yeah. Oh, I had a I mean, this is the most extreme example of that. We needed to be on Fox 5 News in San Diego. We had no idea how we were going to get this tiny home done to be on it. It was at Just Beyond Framing on Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. On Thursday morning, we had to be in San Diego with the completed unit and like at the studio. And we got this call, and it's Renee, who runs the Tiny Home Fest, was like, hey, nobody else can make it. Can you guys make it? You're close. And my factory's in Paris. And I'm like, like 10% chance. I call Bob at the factory. I go, Bob. He goes, I go, when it'll be done? He goes, Wednesday night. I'm like, that was the original deadline. Yeah. I'm like, you're kidding. There's no way. Like, and he goes, yeah, it'll be done. I'm like, at 9 o'clock at night, I can be there. Pick up that trailer with a truck and drive down. He goes, yeah. Dude, that crew worked 3 shifts in a row, like stacked up. And like, I called Renee back as soon as he said that. And I said, all right, we'll be there. Literally, we got there. Like, I had 10,000 other things I had to do for those 48 hours. I did none of them because that was the most important.
That was the most important.
I think I don't know how many items were on my schedule, but none of them got done.
Nope. That's like why I have to have an assistant. Like, I actually texted her the other day. I'm like, God, you know what? I won't say something. She's like, what's that? I'm like, you're doing a great job. She's like, really? She's like, I'm like, you do everything I don't want to. You call everyone, you follow up, you text, you set up all the showings, you do all this stuff. I'm like, it allows me to do what I need to do. I was like, so I'm not bogged down with anything stupid.
Is she working like remotely all the time? Or?
She works in Nashville. She's from Nashville.
Awesome.
Dude, I stole her. So she used to work for Justin Ty.
Okay.
Yeah. Then she came to Rob's office as Rob's assistant. Uh-huh. I left Rob's, and then she went to go, and I was using her as a TC under the table, right? Because, obviously I didn't leave in good terms. And then she goes, hey, we're moving in Nashville, or we're moving in Tennessee. She's like, can you sell my house? I'm like, sure. So she had me sell her house when she worked for Rob.
Weird.
I sold it. Well, I had my brother list it.
Yeah.
We sold it. They found out, fired her. Right. And then she was a big time TC. She was handling like 50 files a month. And then one day she called me up and she's like, I can't do this anymore, Adam. I'm so burned out. I'm like, I'm 2 hours ahead. People call me on Saturday, Sunday. They call me at 10 o'clock at night, even though I'm 2 hours ahead. They don't care. They are always calling me. And then at that time, I was looking for a new assistant. And I was just like, because I had her and then I had an assistant, and like really like there's like not too many people. Like I didn't need that assistant. I just needed Brittany to take on more. I called her one day. I was like, hey, why don't you just become my full-time assistant? Like, how much do you want a month? This is what I'll pay you. This is what we'll do. She's like, hey, let me think about it. She calls me back 6 a.m. the next morning, which I was pissed because I'm up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're in. Like, I'm in. Like, Scott's in. I'm in. Like, he's
Sweet.
down. Right? And it's been the greatest thing ever. Because it's like, and she was all worried, but I'm like, dude, we've already worked together for so many deals. It's like, you're just going to take on a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the greatest thing. But she's talking about moving out like, back to California. If she can move back to California and come in here full time, dude, that's when I really think it'll
crank.
Well, crank because like I don't have time to. I don't like meeting with agents, and I don't have time to deal with that. And I don't have the patience.
Why do you meet with agents? Like
bring agents in here.
Oh, you mean recruiting?
Yeah, recruiting.
Okay. I was saying, I'm like, I can't see any reason otherwise to meet with an agent
recruiting.
person.
No recruiting.
Okay.
But like only flat fee agents in here.
Yeah.
$5.95 a deal. That's it. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to coach you. I don't want to talk to you. I just want you to hold your license here.
Yeah, that's like a way better model.
Yes.
I almost got my broker's license model for that, and then I realized I didn't want to deal with agents.
Because that's the problem, is they always want more. And then like now, I've gotten to the point now where when agents reach out to me, they're like, hey, do you have any tips? I said, yeah, call your broker. I always say that now. Hey, call your broker. Which, well, hey, your broker's not giving you help right now, then maybe you shouldn't work for them. You want to pay me 30% on your next 5 deals? Girl, I'll give you advice.
I'll school you all day.
Yeah, I'll school you all day. But if not, why am I going to give you free advice? And I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm kind of like,
well,
dude.
At some point, it's value of time, right? Like, how much is my time worth now? I always tell people that in real estate investment deals. I'm like, listen, it's real simple. People, this is what I don't get. And this is why agents, this is an example why agents fall in the face. And, if anybody doesn't know me who's essentially watching this, they can kiss my ass. I have a license. I've had them 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you where agents fall in the face. In the real estate investment world, you are trading your knowledge of the world for a piece of the deal. I'm not asking for a discount because I just want one. I'm asking for a discount because you have a problem as an agent. You haven't figured out how to solve for the client to get the maximum value.
Exactly.
So that's on you, bro. Like, you screwed up. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to write an offer at what I want to make at the deal because I value myself more than you do, and you haven't educated yourself. Sorry that your client picked the wrong person, but now I'm buying the property discount because I'm helping you get your paycheck, your commission, and I'm going to get more because that's what I want, because I have the value there. And these agents are like, don't send me a lowball offer. Don't promote a property the wrong way in which I'm going to send you a lowball offer.
Or don't have the stones to let it be overpriced in the beginning.
Jesus, like, come on.
Yeah, like, that's my thing too. Is like, I had one maybe 2 weeks ago, and they're like, well, we just did a price drop. I'm like, yeah, you're overpriced from the start. And now we just had 16 million people file for unemployment. You think you're going to have a lot of buyers coming anytime soon? No. So yeah, we're going to come even lower.
Yeah.
And your seller has a choice now. Take it or leave it. Pick one. And then not you will go to another one.
Yep.
Welcome to the game. That's the thing I don't understand with real estate. I don't know what it is with this, and I can't figure it out. Why so many people are it's something we all do. We all live places.
Yeah.
But they cannot understand working with certain agents are gonna cost them money. I don't understand that. Like, I just took a listing in downtown, and she listed with another agent. They ended up getting an escrow. I sat with her a month ago, and I said, this deal's gonna fall apart. Yeah. And it ended up falling apart.
Because
I just saw it. I go, this deal is never gonna get done. Yeah. They're going ghost on you. Like, my experience showed this deal. She called me up.
If you get no call in 24 hours, your deal's dead.
The deal's
for sure.
dead. And when the moment, it's like anyone's cheating, right? The moment someone goes ghost, they're breaking up with you. Like, they're just going.
Or you got 2 phones, dog.
Or you got 2 phones, homie. Yeah.
You got 2 phones.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? So, but then I'm like, I don't understand in this world where people cannot process that. They just can't. Like, they cannot process. And then my clients, they look at the photos. They look at this. It's like, do you not look, or do you just not care? Do you think it doesn't matter?
Well, I think it's also standards, right? How do you live?
Yeah.
If I've seen, let's take a social media post.
Yeah.
Right. Would you post a blurry picture on social media? If you're that type of person, you'd probably post a blurry picture on your stupid listing because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're just so self-aware. They're just so unaware of who they are and how they operate. And I think a lot of it's because they just don't bother looking at anybody else.
Well, that's the thing. I'll give, I look back when I first started, and my first listing, I did photos by myself. I just didn't know.
Me either.
I was just like, oh, okay. And at the time I wasn't getting too much help from my broker. So if you're brand new, this is your first deal.
Yeah, this isn't about the brand new people.
No. This is for people that are 10 years deep.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, how are you not doing that right now? It's like right now, we have that house, we couldn't fly a drone. And I'm very pissed we couldn't fly a drone because it's by the airport, by, what's that, Bob Hope on the other side of the river?
I think so.
Yeah. So anyways, well, the DJI wouldn't fly up. So I'm like, okay, well, does the DJI 249...
Oh, because it's a zone. It literally
zones, yeah. So, but the new 249 one... we don't know if it can or not because you don't have to register with the FH because it's so.
Oh, the Ultra Mini one.
Yeah, because it's 259 grams for a reason. Because at 250 you have to register. So I went and bought one. I got to go pick it up at Best Buy, and I'm gonna go see because I want a drone photo.
Well, it should because I'm pretty sure as long. Yeah, it should.
I have no idea. So then I'm like. I could have been like, okay, whatever. We're already doing this. We've already done a video. No, I'm like, we're gonna go see if we can do a drone shot.
Well, there's a reason they throw frozen turkeys into airplane engines to check it because they have a certain size requirement. They know won't disrupt the aircraft.
Exactly. So I'm like, I just think that's the crazy thing, and it's something that it just blows my mind. It's like I almost want to shake people. Do you not process this?
But you try Okay, so for 5 Okay, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club is now, in September, will be 6 years old.
Oh yeah, I have someone for you too that needs to join that. So
Oh, good.
I just thought about it right now.
Yeah,
My builder.
They're
Yeah.
they need anyway. Yeah. So in year one, we were like, we're going to start this club and we're going to make all this money because we're going to raise money. We're going to do hard money. We're idiots. But what we thought was it gave us credibility. We're on stage. If you're on stage and you're, proximity to somebody smart, like you get their smarts to rub off on you a little bit. Within 6 months, we realized like basically that entire network they needed our help.
Yeah.
They weren't like here to show up to hand money to us. They're like, we need you. And then, the old adage, help a million people make $1 million, right? So Todd and I sort of quickly jump into what we're used to from Boy Scouts, which is like, service to the community, whatever the case may be. So for like 3 years, we did, I don't know, I'd say we've done minimum 700 3-hour lunches with individuals. Free. I mean, just, for a long time, we bought them lunch, and then eventually we're like, you know what, like you got to at least buy me a burger.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you want my knowledge. We put together a package of every single thing you need to flip a house. Today, I think, pretty sure you can still go to communityrestorationgroup.com or CRG, CRG.FYI, I think. One of those. And there's a registration page, and you download like this giant kit of like every spreadsheet, how to take photos, like just all the way to get you to escrow. Of the nearly 1,000 people who downloaded that, 90% of them opened it, but only 30% of them clicked any of the links.
Oh, really?
So I gave you all this free info. I gave you everything you wanted, right? I spent 3 hours at lunch with you. I taught you everything I could possibly think of. I told you what I would do if I started today, and 30% of those people opened the links.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just like, when you see the math, that's when I gave up. I was like, if you choose to hang around afterwards, if you're there before, if you want to talk to me, I'll teach you whatever you want. But outside of the club, I'm not going to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Because now my burden's been lifted. My karma's been lifted from this world.
See, that's what I think sucks so much is like I see everyone arguing right now online about everything, and it's just like I think I'm at a point where I've seen so much of it where I'm like I can't even care anymore. Like I can't care that the PPP loan ran out of money and then like massive, big companies got $20 million. I can't even get 40 grand.
I actually found myself, I opened that article and I was like, I don't even care. And I shut it.
Exactly.
I started to read it and I was like, this is going to take so much of my time to try and figure out where this money went that like, why
even figure it out? Or like, why did they not pass the $250 billion they were supposed to pass 2 weeks ago? And like,
and everybody said it's a roadblock by one political party. And you're like, well, you see the comments that say like, well, it's because they want more. All right, well, let me know when they're done. Yeah. Because right now it doesn't affect me while it's not done.
Well, and so that's the thing. It's like I just cannot. It's like the same thing. It's like, okay, I created all this time, blah, blah, blah. It's like I can't even care anymore. No. And that's the worst part. It like numbs you out.
But I think there's a point, at least I've gotten to that point, where like I feel like there's a level of tyranny right now that I am mad about. Like I'm angry at like our tyrannical government, and I have nobody to blame but myself because I haven't called a senator, I haven't called a congressman, right? I know the local political officials, like I've gone to their events and stuff like that, but I don't go to chamber meetings, I don't go to council meetings, I don't raise my voice, I'm not the opposition. So, like, really, if you're arguing on Facebook, aren't you just some asshole shouting into the dark?
Yeah. You're the person that's driving down the street yelling at someone for not having a mask on.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, hey, you!
Oh, dude, that was... When I saw Riverside County drop that...
Oh, the snitch thing?
Oh, dude, I came unglued. I was like, it's McCarthyism. It's McCarthyism. Like, this is the craziest shit ever. And I was so upset for, like, 24 hours. And then quickly I was like, wait a minute. I can just hire a VA to upload, just fill it with porn and spam. and then I was like, then 48 hours later, the system went down. I'm like, I didn't have to do it. Somebody else had the same insight. Like, sweet.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, and then you have, it's so funny. They come up with that. And it's like going to be a fine or jail time or whatever. And then you're like, but then the sheriff says, oh, we're not going to be really enforcing it. So
yeah.
It's like,
dude,
okay.
By the way, kudos to the one person in this entire thing, like Chad Bianco. Like, that dude stepped up when he was like, this is how we're seeing it. Yeah. We're trying to get compliance, like, 1-to-1 if somebody
Well, I think he was on CNN, right? Wasn't he?
He ended up on Fox? CNN, Fox.
Yeah, it was one of, and like he even said, he's like, no, you just want one of my guys to tackle someone for not wearing a mask. Cause
he called him out.
Yeah, called him out so you can have a video on here.
Yeah.
That's not what we're going to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he's like, no, we're going to go out. He's like, when we ask people, they comply because we're polite. And like, dude, I was like, talk about a stand-up like sheriff. Like, dude came through. That was the first, like, I didn't really know anything about him other than who his name was. And that was like the first press piece I'd watched. And I'm like, dude, like,
I'll vote for you again.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was my first thought. Everybody else,
that and he's lessening up the concealed carry too. Finally,
is Riverside finally doing that?
Yeah, so because I need to get one.
Because San Bernardino County's been on loose for a long time.
Yeah, so Riverside's loose now.
Oh,
because if we go to that foreclosure market, I mean, I had my home inspector 2 days ago walked into a house, 2 homeless people chilling in there. It's like you just never know.
I've gone to a lot of homes where I've been run up on, like especially during the REO days. Like the scariest ones are just I'm not worried about getting robbed. I'm worried about somebody fearful of me thinking I'm breaking in and attacking them, and they're attacking me in return because they're homeless.
Or they're just not all there.
Yeah,
which is a whole.
Dude, I walked in a house that I'm not 100% sure if the people died. Like they were tapped out with needles on the ground.
Oh.
And they were like laying in like a living room, and I'm like, I'm not sure if you're just like in a coma or like you're literally dead. And I remember I walked out. It was the second unit, and I uploaded the photos to REO Trends and said no interior photos for unit 2. Called the police to report it. I'll let you know when it's clear.
Yeah, don't want to deal with this. Actually, that happened to my brother like 2 years ago. He was going to go show a property. They couldn't get a hold of the son that was supposed to be watching it or whatever. So then his brother came, went through the back door, opened the door, and his brother was OD'd in the kitchen. He could see it. And they're like, and the guy's like bawling, and then Garrett was like, all right, I guess we're not looking to see this house.
Probably not the day.
Probably not. I probably wouldn't buy this house.
Who was the one that, I think it was Russ Houston that told me the opposite story. They're like, Russ Houston's this old school agent in Redlands. Most of he always makes the joke that all his clients are dead. Like he works with trust attorneys. You know, he's a sharp dude, understands estates. He lends money to people privately. Like he's a really seasoned agent. And we were talking one day. I rented a house he owned out in the Groves. And he said he literally showed up to a property. It was like it happened a couple of days before I saw him, and the people wanted to walk over the dead body like in the entryway because it was such a tight real estate market. And they were like, I mean, we know that's who you sell to, and like it was literally a person who was elderly, and they unfortunately, they just expired like in their old age, and then people were like, "Can we still look around?" And I was like, "Dang, people are ruthless.
Savages,
like, they don't even care."
Well, that's what's so funny. Yeah, all these years that I've gotten in the real estate market, I've only been in 4.5 years, but like everyone's like, "Oh, I just can't wait till the market crashes." Yeah. And then right now we're seeing like the possibility of it, and it's like all you guys, I told you, if you can't buy now, you ain't gonna buy a bill by then. It's like everyone. It's like unless you have cash and a lot of cash and good credit and no one's gonna lend you any money.
That's what so the last market, man, if I could do it all over again, right? The old real estate joke is, Lord, please give me one more market crash. I promise I won't screw this one up. So like during the last cycle, me and Todd his mom had come in a little bit of inheritance, and they were buying some rentals, and I was helping them acquire them, and eventually I was just doing mostly investor stuff for flips. And anyway, during that time, like we were talking and we're like, man, if we just had more cash.
Yeah.
But we're stupid. Like that's not how it actually works. Like you don't actually need your own money. You need to learn to raise money. Mm-hmm. And people always say like, how do you raise money? Right? Like, well, first of all, it really helps if you screw up before. If you raise money, you've already made it, or if you've borrowed money and made a bunch of mistakes, the next person you talk to is like, all right, you've been deposed, or you've been through a foreclosure, you've been through like, no, you got a little more, like your skin's a little thicker, they want to talk to you. But I always tell people it's the same thing. So like if this, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's not going to happen until we get to 2025. We're at the end of this millennial peak spending years. Because the demographic data just shows different. I mean, even if we do have some kind of dip, like 2020 to 2025 are when the basically the echo boomers, the children of the boomers are coming into their peak spending years, and they're going to be buying stuff. And they already are. That's why the market looks the way it does. But let's say 2025, we just hit a wall, a cliff, and the thing just plummets. And if you read anybody's, like Ray Dalio has a fantastic explainer of how the credit cycle works. It's 30 minutes long. It's on YouTube. I think it's literally called How the Market Works. There's the long cycle and the short cycle. The long credit cycle is 50 to 100 years. The short credit cycle is, the 5 to 10 year cycle. If we, for some reason, which I doubt it, would hit another long cycle, meaning the kind of recession we saw last time, there are so many people licking their chops when that happens because they already learned in the last one that you can buy single families just as easily as you could buy apartments. Mm-hmm. If you have any relationship with the mid-market, you're going to come into, and they want you to take minimum $10 million. You're going to come into $10 to $20 million in a heartbeat if you have a reasonable business plan. Mm-hmm. So really it's experience. You can have all the money you want. Money just allows you to have no experience and make mistakes.
Yeah.
If you have experience.
And still get through it.
Yeah, and still get through it. If you know what you're doing, like, I mean, you're going to knock it out of the park.
I know. I think that's the thing too. It's like, you just got to be, and you got to be like on it. You know, like I've had conversation with Bob Cadez, who works in Signature now, and he was number 3 in the world. And he's like, dude, he's like, I know the ins and outs so much. He's like, we were doing 900 deals a year. Yeah. He's like, no one knows it more than me. Yeah. Like, he's like, I knew what asset managers I could talk to. He's like, I knew the game. He goes, that's the one thing that all you guys don't realize. It's a game. Yeah. It's all it is. He goes, as much as people look at me now, and, you know, I took a few years off. He's like, I was tired. He goes, I was going hard for 3 years. Yeah. And he goes,
yeah, he became a ghost for a while.
Oh, yeah. Now he's back in the game.
Yeah.
I know, actually. So I've been. Funny thing is, I've been meeting up with him a lot. Like, really? How does this work? How does the game work? How does this work? And he's like telling me, and he always says like, "Don't worry, kid. Just wait.
Just
like,
wait.
That's
just,
it.
Sit away.
Just Daddy will take it."
Yeah, just try and get to a 5-star conference if you can. Try and trying to go to a couple places, meet some people.
He's funny. He's like, "Don't worry, kid. We're homies.
You're good.
I'll help you." But it's like crazy to think. He's like, "Yeah, I'm up at." He goes, "I was getting up at 4 a.m. every day because everyone on the East Coast." Yeah. Yep. He goes, "I was on the phone from 4 a.m." He goes, "I was on the phone from 4 a.m. to the end of the day with asset managers." He's like, He goes, "You don't even know what's going on." Yeah. He goes, people would be like, "Hey, thanks, Bob, for selling me a house," and he was like, "I don't even know. I never even met these people. I have no idea what happened." Yeah. And he goes, "Dude, it's tough, man." And he would even tell me, like, he told me a great story, and of the Bob story about when that market changed. He remembered walking into a house on the day before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, and he dings on the door, and the lady opens the door. It's her and her kids, and she's like, "What are you talking about? My husband's paying the mortgage." She's like, "No, he hasn't. Like, you've been late. Like, you haven't made a payment in 200 days." And he's like, "Yeah, he makes the payments." They're like, "Okay, where's your husband's at?" "Oh, he's at the casino. He was actually a gambler." Oh. Right? So he had the sheriff there and everything. And he goes, "Okay, this is what we can do." He's like, "I could kick you out right now, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to embarrass you and your kids. But you need to be out by the 1st." Sure. Right? He turns around, and the sheriff goes, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "You're going to lose your asset account." He's like, "No, I won't." He goes, so then he comes home, gets in the car, picks up the phone, goes, this is getting pushed to the 1st. And like, he had so much pullback, and they're like, "Okay." Like,
they let him do it.
They let him do it. And he's like, even the sheriff's like, "Are you sure you're going to lose your asset?" He's like, "I'm not going to lose this."
The sheriff actually knew.
Yeah, they knew. He's like, "I'm not going to lose this account." And the sheriff even says, like, "This is the coolest thing." Because that's...
She didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't know. And then this thing, too, he's like, "Dude," and even the sheriff was like, "It's hard right now. That's everything," right? And he's like, "Dude," he's like, "No." And the sheriff's like, "That's one of the coolest things we've seen."
That's dope.
It was a dope story.
Dude, one of the worst things I had seen in him was the opposite. Was like, this poor guy. We got to this house, and it was in Marina Valley in Promontory Point, Promenade Point, whatever that one is, off of Iris. Mm-hmm. And we walk up, and there's a Dish DirecTV guy there. I'm like, "Oops, DirecTV guy installing satellite. Like, this is super weird." Yeah. Like, it's an REO. Like, I was literally going to walk it to like put an offer, and I'm like, "This is dumb." I mean, when you could, for $180,000, buy a 3,000 square foot home, you're like, "Yes, please, I'll buy them all." And the guy's like, "Hey, what's up?" And he thought like we were from management or something. And I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just, the guy's here. I'm getting ready to move in." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, the bank owns this home. Like, and it turns out, poor guy, he got scammed for 5 G's.
Dang.
He'd pulled it out of he'd been in an apartment for 3 years with his family. He'd pulled it out of his Walmart retirement account. He's like a Walmart employee, like a mid-level employee. This guy doesn't have, 2 pots to piss in. This is like a leap for him. And the rent was $1,500 a month, whatever the guy claimed it was going to be. So I was like, "Okay, look, you just got had. Here, I'm going to help you out." I'm like, "This isn't my asset, so I don't care." Yeah. Technically, you signed a lease with somebody. You're holding the lease. Like, you're gonna have 60 days. They're gonna have to evict you. Mm-hmm. So here's what you're gonna do. That's how you're gonna make up your rent, your money you put in. You're gonna live here for free. I was like, and also I'm gonna connect you with that. There was a guy going around, I think with the FBI. he was going around. They were investigating fraud in the IE. I was like, I'm going to give you this guy's info. You need to call him. I was like, you need to set up a sting operation for this guy that, like, he took your money. You need to tell him, like, hey, whatever, some reason meet up with him. And then I think he set it up. Like, I'd set the phone call up for him, and I think they got the dude. But I remember just thinking, like, some regular guy. Regular dude, just like trying to do better for his family.
Yeah, like we're getting out of this apartment.
Yeah.
And everyone's probably so pumped too.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing I'm wondering about after this is all said and done with like the non-evictions or whatever. It's like, dude, it's like you could literally have someone sit in your house. Say you have a rental right now. You could have literally someone say, I can't pay rent right now. And then say this ends in July. Okay. And they've been there more than 2 years. Then you have to wait another 60 days to even file for eviction. Then you have to give them another 60 days. These people are going to be chilling. They could chill in your house. Yeah. A year without paying rent.
Yeah.
And then what? You have your deposit?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that goes into the whole, like, how do you look at your rental portfolio? How do you look at your risk, right? By the way, like, and I know, like, everybody probably hates talking about, but Grant Cardone's last prank.
Oh,
dude,
file for bankruptcy.
City filed for bankruptcy. The next day, he's like, "You guys are idiots and haters." Yeah. Like, it's funny. Somebody posted that, and I remember I replied. I could like see the post because I remember when I posted, I feel like I needed to screenshot it, and I was like, "Here's why I think this is fake." And it was like Boeing has a buyback program. There's no way the dude's jet like is basically you can buy it at 10%. Like Boeing will buy it back at retail.
Yeah.
I was like,
he's not selling it for $6 million or $8 million.
Yeah, I was like, that's horseshit. I was like, in second, I'm like, no one's selling any portfolio of anything below like 75% of its total value. Like it's garbage too. No bank would agree to that. Whatever. And then I said, and for the sake of his investors, I hope he's leveraged to X amount. Like it was like to 50, 60%. And the reality is, and like talking to property managers, so many people have bought and leveraged not looking at the projects that way. Like that dude can have, and I mean, look, there could be some fallout. I'm not going to pretend like Grant Cardone isn't capable of just as much vulnerability as the rest of us. But that dude, if he's leveraged at 50%, 60%, which I think he's somewhere around there, he's got, and you have 6 months of reserve, he's got a massive safety net, right? And all these people want to hate, like, look at that guy, like he's going to go under. And then their own asset, their own rental doesn't have 2 months worth of rent sitting in the bank.
Oh, for sure.
And like and now they have a year with no rent. And the bank's only going to do 4 months of forbearance, maybe 6 tops. And then they're going to want all that money at the end.
You're screwed.
And you're not going to get it from a tenant.
No.
So I just want to call Unis on and be like, give me 5% equity in everything I bring in, and just start funneling them. Yeah, funneling them deals.
Yeah, well, the one rental we take care of because our client lives in Australia, we got an email yesterday. Hey, we can't pay rent, or we lost my job. I still pay rent. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, listen, if something changes, we'll work out a payment plan. I was like, even if you could pay $500 a month, let's do that.
Just something
to kind of keep my guy getting through. And what's crazy to think that is like, this is why I hate the internet. And I was actually we're going really hard on YouTube right now because I was thinking about this the other day.
Dude, your ads, by the way, are chasing me around the internet. Your pixel shit is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. But like, we're going hard on YouTube because I'm laughing. I'm like, I know all these people that are real estate experts and they do no deals. And they're making all this market money and making all this money on YouTube right now. I'm like, why are we not? But then I look back at all of them and they all blew up because they like went after Grant. They went out. It's like, I'm not doing that.
No.
It's like, I'm seeing all these videos, people ripping Grant. It's like, we were in a massive shutdown of the government we've never seen before. Yeah. Everyone's affected.
Yeah, don't pretend like you've got it figured out.
Yes.
Like, that's horseshit.
Yeah. Oh, everything's good over here.
Yeah.
We're over here like, dude, I need that PPP loan and I need to do this. And
we applied for one for every organization. Like, don't pretend like you didn't.
I don't have a website right now because it's costing me $1,200 a month and I shut that down. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And so that's what's so annoying. It's like all these people are making stuff about Grant. It just shows you how powerful big Grant is.
Dude, he was just like flexed on everyone. Like, he was like, watch. He's like, I'm going to make the internet move for me.
It's like, and then people like believed him.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
It's funny. I remember like I'd seen the first post and I was like, man, I'm not buying it. And then 3 or 4 people posted. I was like, well, this might be real. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll see.
Yeah.
And I remember like, dude, like I hope, and I posted the same thing. I still have this like terrible feeling. Like I just don't want. Like I don't want to see the economy crash. Like I care like for the people's sake, right? For just America in general.
It gets dirty.
Yeah, and like if you want to see the economy crash, it's because you've never knocked on somebody's door and evicted them.
Yeah.
You've never become so rigid that when you lose all feeling by this 400th time you've served like a pay or quit notice. You've never gone through that process. And so like, I dare you to be like, oh, I want these, I know there's like the meme going around, the whole like millennials waiting for the home to crash meme. But like these people who are like, dude, I'm going to get a good deal when the market crashes. Like, by all means, go knock on that person's door and evict them to go buy it. Like, great, fine. You can buy that home at a discount, but I'm going to take you there and you're going to serve them their paperwork. Like, and you're going to tell them, hey, you got to move your family.
And especially something like this where it's like, no, it's out of everyone's control.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone's over leveraged.
No.
It's not like people took bad loans out.
You can't blame the consumer right now. Yeah.
And that's what I think so annoys me about how slow the system is. It's like, dude, it's like people are losing businesses. And it's like, dude, yes, okay, maybe they should have had more money in the bank. Agree. Like that's.
But most restaurants got 15 days.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how they run.
And they're not expecting a whole time freaking 3 months shutdown.
They have high waste. They have high employees. Like, it's expensive to run a restaurant.
It is.
And it's a labor of love because it's like thankless. Basically.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like it's not like hey, you deserve this because you over leveraged yourself and you took out a huge loan even though you couldn't pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's probably the most messed up thing about it.
That's the thing that really eats me the most is like, I mean, we're affected, right? Like,
yeah.
If it was 2 weeks later, my whole life would be different right now. Like if 2 weeks, if the shutdown hit 2 weeks later, we would have ordered hundreds of thousands of dollars in materials and they would have been on the way. It would have completely changed like everything for us. And basically we've been sitting with a bunch of outstanding invoices and no way to pay them because people couldn't have bought their tiny homes. It would have been a lawsuit. Like, it would have been a massive legal battle when this was over, right? Because by some grace of whatever, right?
Yeah.
By some grace of whatever, we didn't get to that point because we were still negotiating terms on cost for building. We have almost no overhead. Now, we have no income either, right? Like, I literally have no income from anything. Everything's going to the people that we employ. Like, Todd and I haven't seen a paycheck since January, like literally since January 1st. Like, I haven't got paid for anything, and I'm not running on a pile of cash reserves. Like, running on credit. So when people talk about like how they hope the market's going to change, like, this is at no fault of my own.
Exactly.
Right? I have pre-orders for units. I have great investors. I have an amazing team. All these people have 25 to 30 years of experience. Like, I have a game plan that like. I'm undercutting the entire tiny home market by 30% in total price. Like, the fact that you can put a unit in your backyard for at least 2/3 of the cost of an ADU and definitely 2/3 the cost of a tiny home is amazing for the American public, for somebody's grandma they want to live behind them or their kid coming back from college or whatever. And yet I can't deploy that response at all right now. I can do nothing with it because the government shut down.
Well, and the worst part about it, it's like you never know when it's going to end. That's, I think, the groundhog effect right now.
Yes,
is like
every day
you wake up and then it's just like,
good morning, folks.
Yeah,
it's 42 degrees. Punksy Tony Phil's going to come out and visit.
You're like, okay, here we go again. And then it's like, what is with time feeling like 1 week is a month right now? Oh my God.
Yeah, only the alcohol can make it go away.
Dude,
right?
It's like, well, I guess so. And that's the other thing too. It's like, well, it's noon. I mean, I got really nothing else to do today.
The Rocky Mountains are blue.
Yeah, exactly. Damn it.
A buddy of mine owns a weed shop in Paris. And like, I kind of knew things were going to go sideways when this happened, but like, he goes, bro, I was doing $3,000 a day. It was not amazing. He's like, we were paying overhead. He's like, I'm doing $30,000 a day. So you want to talk about winners and losers?
Yeah.
Some people talk about like what's going to happen coming out of this. And a lot of people said Christopher Thornburg's economic outlook was too bright when Lance had him do the economic forecast. I think, and he was basically trying to make the case that there's going to be a financial shift. There are going to be a bunch of people who do not have money, and there are going to be a bunch of people who worked exceptionally long hours and have far more money than they had previously. Like, they're going to have excess capital now, right? Like firefighters, police, like Edison, Highliners. Like, I mean, all these people that are, quote, essential workers. Construction is going to be about the same if you're on a big project, if you're residential. It depends what your background is, right? Did you do flips or are you going to people's homes? That's going to change things. But the reality is, there's just going to be a group without money, like, which is its own economy, and a group with money, which is its own economy. And those people with money, now those people have expendable money that they didn't have before. I mean, that looks like a lot like an extremely overcharged economy. And this looks like a sad one. But between the two,
we break even.
Yeah. And Chris was talking about the percentages. He was like, all right, well, this size of the market is restaurant staff, waiting staff, whatever, is around like 6% or 5% or something like that. And I'm sorry, watch his presentation because I definitely can't do it justice. That guy's he's a very good speaker. He's a very dynamic speaker. But and he's saying like in the medical field is this chunk, right? And I think it was like this was like 5 and some change. The medical field was 6% of the economy. Well, if the medical field is working nonstop hours, and the restaurant side and all the expendables are under 6%, like it's dwarfing. It's taking those people out. And so these people are low middle wage earners, and these people high earners. So they're getting high earnings plus bonuses plus time. Like, dude, if you're looking for your next client, they're currently working in an ICU.
Oh, they're in the hospital right now.
Yeah.
Actually, it just hit me right now. What's crazy to think like bartenders, whatever, those for our world, housing
strippers
are they're not. There's not too many deals I do with bartenders on $500,000 houses.
No,
I'm not, right? So then I was thinking, you know what those people are going to affect? They're going to affect the dealerships, because those are the people that go buy a car. They don't buy a house, right? They rent and they buy cars. But like the firefighters, those are the people that are buying houses. So for us, that's why I don't really think our market's going to be affected, because the people that normally we're doing deals with, they're getting paid. Even like
all the essential workers live here.
Exactly.
Like we're golden.
And they're going to have a lot of cash stacked up. And they're just going to be tired. I will say that's the one thing I've noticed is like there's just so many people sitting on Zillow right now.
Dude, totally.
Oh my God, my numbers are up. And that's how I know that my numbers are up probably tenfold. But calls to set showings are like down.
Wait, hold on. So you're the traffic, the visible traffic.
Visible traffic is so high right now, dude.
Really?
Like my downtown listing over there that I just put in escrow yesterday, was on the market for a week. I think I got like 3,000 views in like 3 days and like 200 saves.
Do you think that's a really interesting point? Do you think you'd have to do something radical with your listing video?
No, I just think a lot of people are sitting at home and having time to sit on the internet, and then that they're just sitting on the sidelines.
But I'm actually wondering, most people think they can't view a property right now.
Oh, you just do 3D tours now?
No, but I mean, they can also view a vacant home.
Yeah.
Like they could even do Open Door, where they literally show, like Open Door did, where they showed up and you click the button. That's what Open Door did, right?
Yeah.
Click the button. And
well, they stopped letting people in their houses.
Yeah, I heard they did that.
Yeah.
But like if you think about it, like you could actually still view a home if you weren't, I realize blah blah blah, deep clean coding, but nobody actually knows what this stupid virus, how this virus actually transfers, except for droplet.
Exactly.
I wonder if people just don't know they could go.
That's another thing too. I have no idea.
And I wonder if they don't know they could do it all virtually.
I don't know.
And no one's educated them.
No, not.
So the differentiator might be if you're educating people on like how to actually.
Well, that's why I keep on to shoot up videos every day.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing I've been telling people. I'm like, dude, all you gotta do is be shooting videos every single day.
Yeah.
Man,
it'd be crazy. I wonder. We have some projects we still have to sell. Yeah.
Maybe in the description.
I think I got my homework for next week.
There you go.
Like I'm literally gonna go out like some of these. I mean, the last projects for a community restoration group, like they don't make any money. Like they're, and with this COVID-19 thing, like with the investor interest, like they're definitely not going to make money, right? The investors are going to make all the money.
Yeah.
So, but walking through with a 3D camera and be like, listen, you can come view this home, under these terms. We have a combo. We can set it for you. You can bring your family. We won't be here. Yada, yada, yada. We have internal cameras in all our projects, like so I can see your movement. Just be aware of that. Because like if you literally if you order an Arlo Pro, or what's that? There's another company. I don't know. They're not paying me to say, so I don't need to say.
The Matrix or Matrix?
The one that puts cameras. Secure or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. You could have that kit to install in all of your homes. I think it's a monthly rent anyway, $35 a month or whatever. And you could watch everybody view your vacant home. Now, if you're occupied, it's an entirely different animal. Like you probably shouldn't be walking into random people's homes, especially if they're older right now. You need to do the virtual tour thing. But vacant homes that are flips.
Why not?
I mean, why not, right? Especially like when those things are done, they go through a massive cleaning before like the public goes into it.
Exactly.
Dude, I wonder. That would be interesting. I just straight educate people. Yeah. I bet you there's a lot of agents who, if they just went on their feed and said, on their own listing, said, "Hey, if you want to view this and you actually want to buy it, there is a process."
Yeah.
I wonder if they would actually.
Well, I think that's the thing. There's just lack of education.
Yeah.
Lack of, even like I love that we were arguing a month ago if we're essential workers or not, know. But then none of us are arguing that like we don't give anyone information.
Yeah. Well, now they're essentially lazy ass people sitting at home.
Exactly.
Because I don't think any of them are doing anything like seriously intense right now.
No, it's not at all. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
We should do this once a week.
I'm down. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we should play some Super Nintendo too.
Yes.
Going back to 2009 for you.
Dude, I've not played in so long. Do you have Star Fox?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's the mini guy. It has all the games on it.
Oh.
And you can save stuff.
Yeah, we got to do that.
All right. Later, guys.